Okay, before I get into the watch list for Friday, my goodness, tomorrow's Friday. Anyway, before I get into the watch list for Friday, real quick, just last mention, I'm making this video at 5:17 Eastern time. We have a webinar tonight at 7:30. We are vastly overbooked. The webinar only holds 100 people, so it's just literally if you've registered, it has nothing to do with when you registered. It's going to be a first come, first serve as far as login. If we have a whole bunch of people, generally these things, if you, generally not everybody shows up. Obviously, people register for something and then something happens in their life or their TV show that they want to watch comes on or whatever. So, but still, I have a feeling there'll be some people that can't get in. If you can't get in, I'm not really sure how it works. You could try again. If a couple people drop out, it could be an opening. But also know that it's going to be recorded. I am going to be talking about a few things in the webinar that have really, really turned my trading around. So I'm hoping some of those comments can, help other people that are struggling. I've got a few. There's like three things that have made all the difference in my trading over the years. And so I'm going to share those with you. And we're going to talk about the most important time of day to trade. If you don't know how to register, I have put out several tweets with links to register. So here's my Twitter handle at Great Stock Picks with an X. So you can go to Twitter and find me on there. You'll find through my feed, probably near the top, links to register. And again, it's at 7:30 tonight, and it's only going to be for like probably an hour tops. And I know people have busy lives. So we're going to try to keep it, we're going to do a Q&A and everything, but we're going to keep it fairly, reasonable so we don't take up a bunch of your evening. Also, first 50 people in the door get a free scotch on the rocks. I still haven't worked out the logistics of how to do that online, but I'm going to have one on my desk, just so you know. So this could get interesting. Wayne's already taken my car keys, so who knows what's going to happen. But anyway, looking forward to it. I love talking stocks, so that's what we're going to do. The watch list for Friday, I'm just showing you the SPY real quick here. Still breaking out a little bit of a more narrow range than yesterday. IWM starting to get ahead of itself too, so the market's super strong. And here's some stocks I'm going to be watching. Accidentally typed in MDXG. It's IDXG now. Again, guys, this was like a dime 2 sessions ago, and now it's over $1. I am not at all looking to get long tomorrow unless, a very strict set of things happen. I doubt they will. It's way stupid extended, but consider this more of a heads up. Hey, over the whole next week, keep this one on your radar. I like it much more next week than I do tomorrow. All right. Kind of the same thing with COOL. It gapped up and ran through $6. I mean, huge move there before settling in at 517. But maybe we get a narrow range early and then a break or a red to green, something like that. So that one goes on watch tomorrow, but more importantly, all next week. All right, keep that in mind. Doesn't necessarily have to be tomorrow. DRAM, even though it ran all the way to this, or whatever it was, $1.68, hit the 200-day again. I like the fact that it popped up back here, came back down, and then rallied again today, even though it gave back a lot of its gains. You got nice support below. Obviously, some good news flow into this thing. So I am going to watch this for maybe a red to green tomorrow. NVCN, this is just like I talked about. Anytime you have a big stock, a huge move in a stock, you want to keep it on watch for the next week or so. And so this one just goes back on watch. I actually made a couple trades in this one today, but it never really ripped for me. I made a little over 500 in this stock today, but it certainly didn't rip like it did back here. I still think it needs to come in and get back down here, maybe to the 200-day from above or the 8-day. I still think it needs to come in a little bit, but absolutely keep this one on your radar. ENPH, a little bit weird here, but you had a gap and a rip, and then it came back in, and now it's basically coming off the bottom of the range again. A lot of times when you get a gap up or a gap down, the stock kind of naturally finds a range. So you could argue that this today found the bottom of a range and ended up closing strong. So maybe it's headed back to the top of the range. It doesn't cost me anything to have ENPH on a chart. NSPR, I still like this chart a lot. You kind of have to squint to see it now, but you had this big pop here, then a lower high, and then nice consolidation, nice support along the 20-day. A little bit of a pop here, a little bit of a pop here, and now a 2-day pullback on almost no volume. So you definitely have a real pretty flag here, and if it can break above this flag right here, You look to the left, there's not a lot in the way. You might revisit this high and maybe even get through it. So I do like this chart setup a lot. It's really hard to give you any kind of price, maybe through 3 on some volume. I don't know, but it definitely is going to be on a chart tomorrow. ANTH. I made a call on this one today, and I only got a partial fill on my own trading, so I made next to nothing on it, but it still goes on watch. You had an inside day after the big move, right? So today an inside day just goes on watch. Maybe a red to green, we don't know. We'll watch it trade. SM was on bounce watch today. No long trades in it. Oki actually called a short in this. He's sort of our room oil guy. He lives in Oklahoma. He's got family in the oil industry. And he literally almost all he does is play the oil play. So he's an absolute fantastic addition to the room. And he knew that this was on bounce watch today, so it takes off a little bit, comes up, and then fails at the red to green area, and he just called it short. It wasn't down here yet. It was probably at 34.50 when he mentioned, I like this short below the low of day. In other words, 35.27, and you can see what happened. He's really, really good at those. Great call today. It goes back on, it actually bounced this afternoon, by the way. Came a pretty nice comeback and then sort of flagging below its early high. So this one, I'm just looking for that bounce. Maybe we'll watch oil. If oil runs, that's a good candidate for the bounce to continue. SM, SPWR, nice breakout out of almost a month-long range yesterday. And then today, a quiet inside day, lower volume. Maybe we get a third day play on that one. I like it. RCON. It's had a lot of action lately. Huge move here. Kind of an attempt at a secondary move here, then a gap up, and it retested these highs. Now you're a couple days lower. Again, this one should move if oil moves. So keep your eyes on oil. This could be a good go-to one because it is back down, between the area between the 8 and the 20 period moving average. That's an area where I generally look for a strong stock to bounce, and it kind of visited that today. So keep an eye on oil. This RCON. Pretty good candidate, in my opinion, for especially with the low float, if oil moves for a rip higher. So that's a pretty good setup. And then lastly, I've got WYNN. Sometimes when something just gets decimated, like, I don't know how to word it other than sellers get a hold of it, shorts get a hold of it, and it just can't bounce. Sometimes while that trading session is still going on, it just can't bounce. But then the very next session, you get the overnight, and everybody can. I don't know. I don't know why it happens, but sometimes the next day you get a really nice bounce in it. This is probably considered the best in breed as far as the casinos go, and so they all got slammed today. This is a good can. I mean, that's a huge move from over 102 to at one point down to 90, and before settling in around 91. So it's a good candidate, in my opinion, for a decent bounce tomorrow. Again, only with a proper intraday setup. Hope to see you tonight in the webinar. And if there's a whole bunch of people that can't get in, and again, it's going to be recorded, and we'll give you access to it afterwards. But if there's a whole bunch of people that can't get in and want to be there for the live Q&A and stuff, we're going to do these on a regular basis. So if that, if that happens, we're going to go ahead and expand the room capabilities for the next webinar, so we don't have people that can't get in. But tonight we're using to judge and see how many people, if any, get turned away. Okay. All right, I'm done babbling. We're going to watch for some gappers in the morning for some possible gap and go plays, as well as the list I've just given you. All right, I'm done babbling. See you guys tomorrow.